Hi Cancer, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your October 2022 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic growth spread as always, and I also pulled the Four Agreements, Wisdom of the Oracle, and Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where folks should be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get. Alright. So we have Mars, and Mars is actually in Gemini for an extended stay. Toward the very end of October, it's going to start to go retrograde. And for you guys, Gemini is your 12th house of spirituality, blind spots, mental health. All right, we have Aquarius, and Aquarius for you guys is actually your 8th house of death, rebirth, intimacy, investments. And we've had Saturn there for quite some time. It's actually going to wrap up a retrograde toward the end of October as well. And we have 10. So 10th house, career, social status for you guys, that's Aries. We've had Jupiter going retrograde through there for a while. It's going to move back into Pisces in October, but yeah, could be some focus around your career and social status as well. And there will be a full moon in Aries, which is that house for you guys in October too. So it could definitely be some significance there. All right, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started with the main spread. The main situation position, we have the King of Cups, Scorpio energy, and Strength card challenging that. So this is Leo energy here. Now, for some of you, this could just be saying that maybe you have a high libido this month, and maybe you're going to be trying to control that. That's one way I can see that playing out. For others, you could just be saying that maybe you have a bit of an elevated status this month. You know, maybe within the workplace, right? Maybe you get some kind of recognition there. Or just in general, it seems like you have a bit of an elevated status and seem to be a little bit more firm in how you're coming across this month too. But with this Strength card in the challenge, could just be saying that you'll find yourself trying to keep your ego out of decisions that you're making this month for whatever reason. So I do see that there will be an effort there, right? So maybe you might even pick up on the energy that, like, you know, you might be like, oh, for some reason I feel like I'm coming across a bit more aggressively than normal, right? So it could be one of those things where you're aware of that and you try to keep it under control. And if that's the case, especially given that we did see Mars come up in the dice for you guys too, it could just be that Mars transit we were just talking about moving through your 12th house. All right. In the foundation position, we have the 5 of Cups, so more Scorpio energy here, and this energy usually points to disappointments of some kind. So for some of you, maybe that's even why you have that awareness, right, of trying to keep your ego out of things. So just a super generic example, let's say that during the Mercury retrograde, which technically at the time of recording this is still going on, maybe you had a conflict with your friends, right? Maybe you said something, came across the wrong way, and that escalated into some big blow up of some kind, right? So maybe because of that, you're like, okay, lesson learned, right? And now you're trying to be more careful of what you say. Could just be a super generic way it could be playing out. But yeah, if not that, could just be saying that, you know, maybe you've gone through your trials and tribulations, right? So now maybe that you are at a level of success, or will be, that could make it challenging for you to not even necessarily gloat, right? But to say, you know, almost release that energy of the disappointments in the past, but in almost like an egoic type way. But that's what I see with that. All right, past energy, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is Virgo energy here. So yeah, it could just be saying that during Virgo season, you know, you might have gotten some offer around something, right? Maybe this was a long time coming too. So that could be part of that elevated status for you guys too. So whether it be some kind of a raise, a bonus, promotion. But yeah, it could just be saying that might have come across for you guys during Virgo season. And maybe it was one of those things where they might have pretty much told you, hey, this is what's going to happen. But maybe, especially with the retrograde energies, it was just a delay in it actually coming your way. And how you could finally see it this month. All right, present position, we have the High Priestess. So yeah, I feel like I said, intuitively, kind of what I was saying here, where I felt like with that Strength card in the challenge, you might actually feel something bubbling up to the surface, and you kind of catch yourself, like, okay, you know what, let me not say that, let me not do that, something along those lines, right? So I feel like this is saying that intuitively you'll just have these feelings of when to say something, when not to say something, right? When to take action, when not to take action. So I feel like intuitively you're going to know what the right moves are to make this month. But that's what I see with that. All right, and then your future position, we have the Three of Pentacles. So Capricorn energy here, which for you guys is your 7th house partnerships, contracts. So yeah, this could just be saying that you guys will be collaborating this month with people, whether it be around a work situation for some of you, or possibly even in a romantic relationship too, right? Where even if you feel like you've reached this elevated status in some way, I feel like you won't necessarily outwardly present that. I feel like you will be making your best effort to harmonize and work with people this month. All right, the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Magician. So yeah, I feel like this is another indicator that says that, hey, whatever level we've reached, right, whether it's through some kind of external validation or just something within yourself that shifted, I feel like this is saying that you have the energy to make things happen this month, right? So whether it be collaborating with people or really just going and doing your own thing, that's all at play for you guys this month. But I feel like this is saying you have the tools at your disposal to let a situation play out the way that you're hoping for this month. All right. In the environment position, we have the Eight of Wands in reverse. So yeah, you might almost feel like I said, usually the interesting thing when Mars is in your 12th house, it doesn't, like, you might get tons of ideas of what you want to do, how you want to do it, why you want to do it, but then actually physically taking the action could be a little bit more difficult. But the energy I'm getting here is it seems like you guys aren't having that problem. It's like all the ideas are there, you're ready to go, right? Ready to take action, but you might find that people in your environment aren't necessarily in that same energy. So maybe that's how these masculine energies are playing out for you too, right? Where you're feeling, maybe it's not even so much that you're more assertive than normal, but maybe just the people in your environment are less assertive than normal, and that kind of makes your energy stand out a little more to where you're like, oh, what's going on, right? So it could just be one of those things where people are just recovering from the retrograde fog, and then we have the eclipse coming up toward the end of the month. So, it could just be those energies at play there. But yeah, I feel like this is saying that there's not a lot of action being taken, and that could be actually what might make you want to take the lead around a situation and actually get the ball rolling. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Two of Swords. So I'm going to assume that for a lot of you, this is probably hope, which is to say, I feel like you're hoping to make the right decision, right? Like I said, I feel like there is a desire, even if you do feel maybe some more egotistical or toxic traits bubbling to the surface, I feel like you will make a conscious effort to avoid them from impacting people around you, right? But with this here, I feel like this is saying that you're hoping to be able to just detach from emotion this month and just make decisions based on a more logical basis. The reason I say that, we do see the water in the background, we see the moon in the background, and we see the arms across the heart too. So those are all indicators of emotions and blocking them out. So it looks like that could just be the energy you guys are in this month. And in the outcome position, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So the phrase that comes to mind when I see this is that old saying, all's well that ends well, right? So I feel like this is saying that it looks like whatever potential there was for some kind of conflict will be averted for the majority of you, right? I feel like this is saying that you will, even if you have been getting a lot of external validation that could lead someone to act out of ego, I feel like you're really going to do a good job of steering away from that this month. And just intuitively knowing, like I said, knowing what to say, when to say it, why to say it. So in the process of that, it looks like it will lead to some success for you guys. All right, in the bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant. So this is the major arcana card for Taurus energy. And yeah, it could just be pointing to the fact that, like I said, we're going to be entering into eclipse season as we get toward the end of October. So the first one's going to be in Scorpio, and then we'll have one in Taurus in November. So that energy could really already start bubbling up to the surface during October, especially given that we have Uranus and the North Node so close together in Taurus. So this could just be saying that, worst case, if you need a good sounding board, you might be able to rely on friends that you've had for a long time. With this particular card, I feel like this is saying this wouldn't be a friend you made last week. This would be friends that maybe you've had for years, right? And they could be a source of stability in that regard, like if you feel like there's a lot of change around you, I feel like you could rely on them and just let them know what you're going through and get some good guidance there, right? And for others, you're just going to be saying maybe even just keeping your faith in things to be worked out behind the scenes at a higher level too. So that's what I see with that. All right, moving on to your four agreements card, we have don't make assumptions and let your life be transformed. All right, let's see what it says. It says when you stop making assumptions, your word becomes impeccable and your life is completely transformed. Magic just happens in your life. What you need comes to you easily because spirit moves freely through you. So, pretty good message there too about not making assumptions, right? Like especially because we were talking about the fact that the Mercury retrograde energy is still going, so there could be some room for confusion there, right? And maybe that's even an awareness on your part too. That, like we said with the strength card in the challenge, saying that even if it might seem someone says something that you're wondering what did they mean by that, right, rather than just be reactive, I feel like you really try to address it with them and see what they really meant, right, just to get clarification, like, okay, did they mean that the way that they did, which might be a negative way, or did it just come out the wrong way, something along those lines. All right, moving on to your wisdom oracle card, we have chaos and conflict. There's the artwork, and the number is 33. So yeah, speaking of which, right, it looks like that could be potential this month, but looking at the spread as a whole, I feel like you guys would be avoiding that. Like I said, I do get that the strength card is in a challenger position, which could just be saying that it might be a struggle for you guys to keep your ego out of situations, but overall, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it would be successful on your part. So, but we'll see what this adds to the mix here. All right, essential meaning says disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. The oracle's message: opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. So, interesting message there, and that kind of goes along with what I was feeling there, right? Where, like I said, in some way you might feel almost a responsibility to take the higher ground around situations, right? And really make sure, like, okay, am I understanding this right? Rather than be reactive and possibly have things escalate into a conflict. So, hopefully it resonated. The relationship message says stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear, and you will be in a much better place than before, for the storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before, if you use this time constructively. So yeah, pretty positive message there. I didn't really see this necessarily as like a one-to-one relationship dynamic, but that's what you guys were seeking guidance on. Hopefully that resonated. And the prosperity message says, circumstances appear to be chaotic, but everything that is happening now is in truth shaking things up so you can find the real path to your prosperity. Yes, it's a stormy time, and it feels as if there are opposing forces wherever you turn. Be reassured that there is divine purpose in this chaos. Everything that doesn't work is being taken from you, so the truest parts of yourself remain. The events occurring now are essential for your ultimate prosperity. This chaos is divinely inspired, even though it doesn't appear that way now. In time, you will know this to be true. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there. Like I said, it looks for the most part like you guys will have some success. Um, maybe that is more referring to the Five of Cups energy that we see in the foundation, right? So maybe that disappointment's still going to be playing itself out. You might feel this a little bit later in October, but hopefully that resonated too. And lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. So this is your mudra here. It's the Bhramara mudra, and the keyword for it is harmony. All right, and there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says improves the health of the lungs and the large intestine, balances the immune system, particularly in cases of immune overreaction, reduces allergic reactions to food and pollen, soothes cough and irritated lungs. So if that sounds like a mudra thing would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name in the description of the video as always. I will wrap up there and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.